Hello everyone, welcome to Alchemistry. Hope all of you are doing well. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment, which is also called gold foil experiment. This is an important point for class 11 students for their semester 1 exam and for those who are taking preparations for NEET and JEE exams. In my previous lecture, I have discussed about J.J. Thomson's atomic model, but in this lecture, I am going to discuss about the whole of alpha particle scattering experiments and the important points to be remembered. Now let's begin. In 1911, Ernest Rutherford performed the famous alpha particle scattering experiment, which is also called gold foil experiment, to study the internal structure of the atom. Now, why it is called gold foil experiment? Because in this experiment, gold foil was used. That is why this experiment is called gold foil experiment. At that time, the accepted model was J.J. Thomson's atomic model, which suggested that positive charge was spread uniformly throughout the atom. Rutherford's experiment proved this model incorrect and led to the discovery of the nucleus. The aim of this experiment was to determine how the positive charge inside the atom is distributed, whether the atoms are solid throughout or mostly empty space. So these kinds of things were in the mind of Rutherford and his co-workers like Davison and Germer. For the experimental setup, they used apparatus consisted of a source of alpha particle and lead block with narrow slit to keep the alpha particle source inside it. They used a thin gold foil and a fluorescent screen. As the alpha particle source, they have used radium or polonium because they can emit alpha particle. Now, what is an alpha particle? Alpha particle means helium ion. It has +2 charge on it and has mass number 4. So its mass is 4 AMU. And what is radioactive substance? Radioactive substance means those substances which can emit alpha, beta, gamma like rays or particles spontaneously. Alpha particle has +2 charge on it. It is heavy and fast moving. To keep the radioactive substance, a lead block was used with a narrow slit. A lead block looks like this. You can see there is a narrow slit inside the lead block where the radioactive substance was kept. The slit was made so that the alpha particle from the radioactive source can come from the radioactive source through the slit. So this was the arrangement of the radioactive source. A thin gold foil was used. This is about a few hundred atoms thick. That means it was 2100 angstrom of thickness. The gold was chosen because it is highly malleable and very thin sheets can be prepared as gold is highly malleable. That is why gold foil was used. A fluorescent screen was used. Now, what is a fluorescent screen? Fluorescent screen means any screen or any surface which is coated with zinc sulfide-like substances. If this is a screen or surface and it is coated with zinc sulfide like this, when electron, proton, neutron like time moving particle hits this screen or hits this surface, flash of light appeared. This flash of light is called scintillation. So whenever electron, proton, neutron or alpha, beta, gamma like particles hit This type of screen or surface, which is coated with zinc sulfide-like substances, flash of light or scintillations observed. This phenomena is called fluorescence. And that screen is called fluorescent screen. Rutherford, in his experiment, used a circular screen. That circular screen was coated with zinc sulfide like this, so that any tiny moving particle like alpha, if come and hit this circular screen, flash of light would have observed. That circular screen was arranged in such a manner so that it can rotate in a circular path along an axis like this. So whenever alpha particle from the radioactive source in his alpha particle scattering experiment came and hit this fluorescent screen, flash of light observed or scintillations observed. From this observation, Rutherford understood the traveling path of alpha particle. To where the alpha particle passed through, whether it is straight path or deflected path, that is observed from this flash of light or scintillations on the fluorescent screen. That is why a fluorescent screen was used in Rutherford's atomic model. This is the experimental setup. You can see this is lead block. This is radium inside this lead block, and this green light is showing the path of alpha particle. That means alpha particle is coming from this radioactive source and it is falling on this thin gold foil through this straight path. After falling on this thin gold foil, most of the alpha particle passed straight through this thin gold foil. Some of the alpha particle got deflected like this, you can see, and some of the alpha particle got deflected in a large angle. So the deflection path here is large. So some of the alpha particle got slightly deflected and some of the alpha particle got largely deflected. But only one alpha particle out of 20,000 of alpha particles that are coming from the radioactive source bounced back to its original path. So these are the observations of Rutherford's atomic model. When you observe that some alpha particles passed through, some changed direction, and very few bounced back. All these observations were made due to the observation of the flashes of light on the ZNS screen. So, the observations of Rutherford's atomic model was that most of the alpha particles, around 99% of the alpha particles, were passed straight through the gold foil. Some of the alpha particles were deflected by small angles. They changed their path slightly, and very few alpha particles were deflected through large angles. Around 1 in 20,000 alpha particles bounced back to the original path. So this was the observations of Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment. From this observation, some questions may have arisen into the minds of Rutherford and his co-workers, and those were why most alpha particles passed through. If an atom is rigid, alpha particle which has a mass of 4 atomic mass unit, that alpha particle could not have been passed through the atom, whether it is straight path or deflected path. It could not have passed through the atom. It could not have passed through the atom. But in reality, in alpha particle scattering experiment of Rutherford, it is observed that most of the alpha particle pass through the atom, whether it is a straight path or deflected path. So had the atom is rigid, this could not have been observed, but it is observed actually. That means most part of an atom is empty, right? So Rutherford concluded that most part of atom is empty. Some particles were deflected. Alpha particle is of class 2 positively charged. So alpha particle when gets deflected, that means there is a positive charge center inside an atom. That means all the positive charge of an atom is centered in a small region. Rutherford named that positively charged region as nucleus. Very few of the alpha particle bounce back. That means the atom contains very small, dense, positively charged center. As alpha particle has positive charge on it, so there must be a small center inside an atom which is dense. And all the positive charge of an atom must be have centered inside it. Because for the bounce back of the alpha particle should have been repulsed through a strong positive charge inside the atom. That means, as alpha particle scattering experiment is showing that only one alpha particle out of 20,000 of alpha particles are bounced back. That means there is a small region inside the atom which is dense in positive charge. That means all the positive charge of the atom is dense inside the center of an atom. That part is called as nucleus by Rutherford. Right? So atom contains a very small dense positively charged center. So some conclusions are drawn from observations of Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment, and that is when most alpha particles passed straight, this observation explains that atoms contains mostly empty space. When some particles deflected, that means positive charge is concentrated inside the atom. When few bounce back, that means entire positive charge and most mass are concentrated at the center. So far I have discussed alpha particle scattering experiment of Rutherford in detail. Now I am going to discuss some importance of Rutherford's experiment. Before Rutherford, it was J.J. Thomson who explained that the positive charge inside an atom is distributed throughout the atom. That means the spherical atom has positive charge which is distributed throughout it. But from the alpha particle experiment, it was observed that most of the alpha particle passed straight. Some of the alpha particle passed in a deflected path, passed through deflected path. Rutherford described that all the positive charge of an atom must not have been distributed throughout. Rather, it is concentrated within a small region inside the atom, and he named that region as nucleus. So he disproved or Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment disproved Thomson's atomic model. It was the experiment which discovered the atomic nucleus. It became the foundation of modern atomic structure. And later, this experiment helped in developing Niels Bohr's atomic model. So now I shall point out some quick points that are usually come in class 11 exams as well as in NEET and JEE exams. So the particles which is used in Rutherford's atomic model was alpha particle. The metal foil used was gold foil and the detector used was zinc sulfide. Main discovery of Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment was nucleus, and it can be concluded that atom is mostly empty space from the experiment of Rutherford's. So far I have discussed everything about Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment. Prepare well and do good results. Thank you so much for watching.